How's it going, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome back to a brand new Locals feature match. Here we are in the finals of this week's Locals, where we've got Rescue Ace on the left versus me on the Infernoble deck on the right. And yeah, let's hop right in. I'm going to go ahead and win the die roll here, go first, leading with the wanted to grab the Diabell Star. Also, a reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But we've already got that secured, right? The Diabell Star engine will help us play through an extra layer of interruption, which is always nice. So I'm going to go ahead and start by special summoning Fenrir. My opponent also has double Imperm, which, you know, is definitely probably like the better hand traps to have against the Infernoble deck. Imperm just always goes crazy. I honestly, now that I'm watching this back, though, I think I definitely, and surprise, I may make a mistake. What else is new? So I go ahead and use Durendal here, and I grab the Renault, which was a little greedy because I was like, you know, if I grab Renault here, then I'll use Fenrir to grab Riseheart, you know, if he doesn't droll me. But, you know, I really didn't pay too much attention to the fact that, like, if he did droll me there, I would be in a really bad position. So I should have actually Fenrir'd first for the Riseheart, then check, because if I get drolled there, then I can still go like Diabell Star, send the Riseheart, summon it, set Snake Eye, bring out Ricky Ardetto, and bring back the Riseheart, and still have a play. I also should have made Angelica here first, which, I mean, yes and no. It would have definitely played better around the Imperm, but at least going into a Sold, you know, a Sold can pretty much always force a hand trap just because the card is so strong. So I end up going for a Sold. He Imperms. I'm like, all right, this is fine. I still can go for like the Diabell Star play. But the other thing that I'm looking at here is that, you know, my Riseheart is banished. So poor planning on my part there, but luckily my opponent feels the need to Imperm the Diabell Star anyways, even though, like, if I were to get Snake Eye there and get Ricky Ardetto, I'd have nothing to bring back with it. So kind of a misread on my opponent's behalf there, but also on my own. I definitely should have started with the Angelica line. It's always a little bit safer, and you can still branch off Angelica lines into a Soul lines as well to get access to, like, the Angelica's Angelic Ring through the double roll and play, which I've been doing a lot more recently, just because it gives you the benefit of, like, playing through hand traps, starting with Angelica and, you know, still getting to resolve a Soul as well. So I had an SP with Imperm and Fenrir. Now, I am a terrible player by every means of the word. Really, really bad. I swear I was on a roll for this tournament, ended up making it all the way to the finals after 7 rounds. Right, nothing like super impressive, right? There's been more impressive things, and we hit the Droll and Lockbird there in resolution. But I did not Fenrir here. I should have 100% Fenrir banished the what is it, the Fire Hydrant. I should have done that 100%. I even talked to my opponent afterwards, like, you know, should I have used Fenrir there? But I just decided not to. My opponent does have the rescue or alerts, the one that allows him to revive from either grave, and the fact that he's able to keep the hydrant on field, he's able to steal my Diabell Star out of my graveyard, and that's problematic because he can now you know, get over the Fenrir in the battle phase since it has 2500 attack. That's just like really bad play there on my behalf. Sure, I think my opponent could have probably chained that Rescue Ace spell in response, but just getting rid of the Fire Hydrant would have just been so much better, because just getting that off the field makes it so he can't do this next play, which allows him to set up an SP play because he has an extra deck monster now, and he's also put 2 Rescue Ace monsters, or Rescue Ace cards rather, into his grave, which now sets up Turbulence. And this SP Little Knight is going to basically just clear out the rest of the board, because he can just go ahead and banish my set card, which forces the Imperm, which means I no longer can Imperm the Turbulence. And even if I were to chain SP in response to his SP, he can still just chain his SP. Right, banish my SP, banish his, and I think my Imperm would still get banished if I don't use it. SP is like a tricky card. I guess maybe only for me. But I know, like, if SP declares its on summon effect, or not its on summon effect, its quick effect, and you chain something to remove it in response to it, it actually doesn't resolve, I think. Somebody feel free to correct me on that in the comments below. Because I think it needs to, like, banish itself with its own effect. But yeah, and then he has the Turbulence in hand. It has the 2 cards engraved to be able to banish for it, and my Imperm has, of course, already been expended on the SP Little Knight. And yeah, that's just, like, it's just tough. So here I go, chain SP, and that resolves. And he still resolves Turbulence, though, which is, again, problematic at this point, because now he's getting a whole bunch of engines set up, getting, like, Extinguish, Emergency, and Alerts, which, again, those cards look so similar. Alert and Rescue look so very, very similar. End phase, SP comes back, Turbulence comes back, and I've got Red Layer in hand, too, which is a bit awkward, having something like SP come back. It's also another thing with, like, Fenders and stuff being in the deck. Sometimes SP is, like, a little awkward, but usually not that awkward to, like, a point where it's, like, really problematic, at least in my experience playing the deck. I haven't really had that conflict so much. And if anything, it's just, like, free link fodder since it is a warrior, which is kind of crazy. So I think here my initial play was, yeah, just go battle phase, get rid of his SP, and now at this point, I know that at least Extinguish, I believe, is set, and I don't know the other. I think it's Contain, which he actually hard drew. As you guys could see, probably, his opening hand was not that great. So I go ahead and use Durendal here, and I think I equipped it to my Red Layer. I probably should have equipped it to his Turbulence, but then again, he could still just use Emergency to, you know, summon and then tribute it off, and then there goes my Durendal. I could have also used Durendal's effect here, which I hope I do. I do not. Unless he did it in response to activation and Durendal never resolved. And then for ruling reasons it can't resolve, but that could have been something I could have just done right there, unless... Yeah, no, that's tough, man. I'm not really making myself look too good here on camera, which I have a good habit of doing. You know, if it does seem like I'm roasting myself right now, it's because I am, and it's definitely deserved. Sometimes I make decisions that when watching them back, I just don't understand what the thought process was. Also, a reminder, guys, check out Imperium Duelist. They did have a huge Black Friday sale. I don't know if it's still going on, but if it is, definitely check it out. Tons of great deals. And you can still use my discount code WinterKill off at checkout to save 10% on top of all of the deals that they are still running. And also check out TCG Player down in the description as well. My affiliate link always there. If you guys want to support the channel at no extra cost to you just by using that link, it's a great way to do it. So my opponent is going to, in response to a sold, sending for 4 for cost, he's going to chain the Impulse and then chain Imperm, which luckily I've got that crossout designator in hand. I haven't really been a huge fan in the past of siding things in like crossouts and called by like super heavy anti-hand trap stuff for strictly going first, but if I'm being honest, I have really liked it. It's a great way to help secure the deck. You know, going first, like give you a very good solid chance at going first, being able to stop a potential barrage of hand traps and board breakers. You don't really care so much about because the deck already does a good job at dealing with board breakers, which is nice because sometimes that ends up being the downfall of certain combo decks is the board breakers, the Dark Rulers, the Super Polys. But of course, thanks to Angelica's Angelic Ring, you don't really have to worry about that so much. And putting out multiple spell trap negates, evenly matched, lightning storm, things like that, don't really have to worry about them so much. And here we're going to resolve Magus, and I'm going to put back 3 and draw 1, try to get into a little bit more resources here mid-combo. I've also got to worry about this fire attacker on the field, where if I add anything to my hand except by drawing, he gets to draw 2 and discard 1, which is pretty insane. Him resolving pretty much like a Pot of Greed mid-combo could be more than problematic, especially considering that I've already used a crossout designator, so any new hand traps you find off that could really just ruin my day. So here... there's a different line I definitely could have taken here, and I'll talk about it in a second. I was really worried about this fire attacker, right? Like, this is now something I need to deal with while I combo. So, without putting too much thought into it while I'm playing, I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just go into SP, banish it, then go into a sold, right? Why don't I just go ahead and do that? But one thing I also could have done is actually go into Appaloosa right now, because I'm not warrior locked. Appaloosa right now takes care of both the what is it? The fire attacker, and it also deals with any other potential hand traps he might have. But I go into the SP just on you know, very little thought put into it, I guess. And I would have had the Divine Sword, been able to add that back to my hand. I would have had plenty of material to banish to add back to summon the Diabellstar by sending off the Divine Sword, and then I could just get Snake Eye. Snake Eye could send the Diabellstar, that brings out Ricky Ardetto, that brings out Ogier, and then I keep comboing with the Isolde, or sorry, the Appaloosa on field. But now I'm playing even harder into the other potential hand traps my opponent has. Also, yeah, the send from field, face up field for the Snake Eye. Get it confused with Diabellstar summoning condition, send from face up field or hand. Original Snake Eye is only face up field. So here comes Ricky Ardetto, and once this resolves, of course, will be Warrior Lock, so it's far too late for any Appaloosa lines right now. But if you guys could see my opponent's hand, he does have Nibiru, so I'm just literally walking, you know, aimlessly into it. And yeah, I really just noticed this Appaloosa line right as I sat down to edit this video before the commentary, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, Appaloosa line would have worked there 100%, and he has the Nibiru. I chain in response, of course, because I don't want to lose the Little Knight. There's no reason to just let it hit the grave right now. So I chain SP, targeting herself, and I think I target Turpin just so it doesn't end up getting banished because of its own effect. So when it comes back, it'll hit the grave if it does leave again, so putting another extender back in the grave. But it's amazing how I've found the exact way to lose game one by not using Fenrir. Out of all the other options I could have taken, I found the perfect option that ended up losing me the game. And same thing here in game two, just finding the absolutely perfectly worst way. Don't make the same mistakes I do, right? Learn from my mistakes as I have learned from them. Even learned some stuff last night at locals. My friend who's been helping me with this deck for a while, I told him, like, oh, I bricked, right? Like, I had a hand of, I'll tell you the exact hand. It was Gearfried, Magus, Connector, Ash, and Original Snake Eye, and my opponent ashed my Connector, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't have any way to Isolde after that, and he's like, no, you still actually did have a way to Isolde, and I'll leave it like a little thought exercise for anybody who cares. If you want to tell me, or at least try to guess what that line is to Isolde, feel free to try to put it down in the comments. And yeah, so my opponent uses that Nibiru to his advantage to run over the SP Little Knight. So I take a little bit of damage there, just I think it was like 1400 damage, and then he's able to still combo freely here, getting access to the Hydrant, then into the Airlifter, right, and just pretty much setting up full Rescue Ace combo. I mean, one card combo is one card combo, and my board is pretty much broken. Yeah, it's not pretty much broken. It is broken. I've got a tiny bit of follow-up left in hand, and I think it's literally just red layer. So, yeah, that's my in quotes follow-up plus whatever I have engraved. You know, I'll have Turpin, I'll have Divine Sword, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, this deck usually always has something to do, which is one of the reasons why I really like playing this deck so much. I know some people don't like it because of certain things, like everybody hates Isolde, but there are so many other decks out there that are really good that have broken cards that people don't seem to complain nearly as much about. That's just my take on it, but like Turbulence setting 4 cards directly from the deck, Pearly Noir just being completely unaffected and being able to send a billion cards back to the bottom of your deck, you know, etc., etc. Like Kashir Fenrir, like that card's still absolutely absurd. Maybe it's not the best comparison to something like Isolde, but you know, I feel like these cards get some hate unnecessarily. So, yeah. Connector and Dolphin, I mean, that's another thing. Like, if I had a reason to play a one card Isolde combo that happened to be Fire Warriors instead, I honestly wouldn't complain. But yeah. My opponent ends on the SP, the Turbulence, and the Turbulence did resolve, so setting 3 there. And yeah, passes it back to me. And they do decide to SP banish the Ricky Ardetto engrave, which, I mean, fair enough. I end up just going into Ogier, equipping to Turpin, so it can't be destroyed by card effects, so we can't like extinguish pop it. And then I go Divine Sword equip, and give it a 300 attack boost, so now it's at 17, so I can beat over the SP Little Knight. And they end up chaining Emergency here, which is going to go ahead and summon out the Preventer, and then they're going to go ahead and Tribute off, since they they don't have Hydrant, so they're going to go ahead and send off the Turbulence, and then Reborn the Turbulence, or the Airlifter, sorry, with Rescue. And they're going to add a copy of HQ. And we attempt to go Battle Phase, and they end up booking the Turpin there with the Preventer. And yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the only thing left in my hand is that red layer still. And I have yet to normal summon, so I actually end up... pretty sure I end up normal summoning the red layer over top of the Turpin. And I've also, since I was actually going first this game, so I guess I could definitely declare this a side decking error, in that I should have not have sided out Rise Heart, because it's actually going to matter here. And now I end up using the original Snake Eye to put back the Diabell Star to the bottom, and add a level 1 Fire Warrior here, so I guess that was also some more of the follow-up that I had engraved, which I know, at least for me, I used to be super caught up on always trying to use the draw effect of Wanted to put back the original Snake Eye, but like leaving the original Snake Eye to put back the Diabell Star, I think it's just always way better, because you have that free level 1 Warrior search. Then he goes ahead and uses the Extinguish there to pop the red layer, and I'm like, that opens up my field now. He's trying to prevent me from summoning the Renault, but now I can summon Fenrir. And I'm like, if I have access to Rise Heart right now, like, I can still do some plays. It would involve me having to use Rise Heart's special summon effect, but that still means I can play the game. But as you can see, I added Fenrir because I've already sided out that Rise Heart. But I would have special summoned Rise Heart, summoned Renault, added back, right, something, and then like something equipped to the Rise Heart, Turpin summon, make Dempsey search out something, you know, like that. Some way to maybe try to like play beatdown with Fenrir, Dempsey, and Gearfried, but just siding that Rise Heart out there completely did me in. So, but yeah, I mean, pretty decent match nonetheless. I guess I definitely could have played way better. But yeah, that's going to do it. Rescue Ace takes the entire tournament there, and that 2-0 win in the finals. And last but not least, a big shout out goes to our current Divine level channel member, who are Pony Stark, Cadillacs, Green, Misfit, and HH Cyber. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind and very generous support of the channel.